Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, continuing to take a look at the next week's slate, heading back out to the Big Ten, Illinois heading on the road to play the Iowa Hawkeyes. And what intrigues me most about this football game, both of these programs playing their best football that we've seen from them all year, starting with Illinois. Johnny Paddock coming in 500 plus passing yards against Indiana. This offense will look completely night and day different. Isaiah Williams getting going, Pat Bryant getting going, and you look at the Iowa Hawkeyes. They shut out Rutgers, a team that gained more yards than Ohio State when they played them the week prior. This is a very good Rutgers team, and that Iowa offense looked by far the best that we've seen this Iowa offense look all year. Deacon Hill getting a little bit more confidence. I thought the play calling was actually pretty solid. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown for all of these game breakdowns truly does mean a lot. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, let me know in the comment section, picks, predictions, keys to the game. Without further ado, let's get into this one. I want to start with this Illinois offense going up against an Iowa Hawkeyes defense that, death taxes Phil Parker, elite defenses every single year. You take a look at the numbers from that Rutgers game, 127 total yards gained for Rutgers, only 34 rushing yards. This was an offense in the Big Ten that was one of the best rushing attacks that you saw. Kyle Monangai for Rutgers has been on a tear, and they couldn't move the ball against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now you're looking at this Illinois offense. It absolutely explosive passing game against Indiana. John Paddock was slinging the rock all over the field, and he looked extremely comfortable doing so. We knew this Illinois offense had some weapons on the outside. Isaiah Williams is an NFL caliber wide receiver, the most explosive player on the football field. Pat Bryant looks like a phenomenal wide receiver too. Casey Washington got going. You look at the run game, finally getting some traction on the ground as well. Reggie Love goes for over 100 yards. This is what we wanted the Illinois offense to look the first couple weeks of the season. And you're starting to see them find their stride. I think the offensive line played solid. They're going up against a much better defense in Iowa. And what I want to talk about is two things. One, running the football against the Iowa Hawkeyes, very difficult. Nick Jackson and Jay Higgins. I don't know how Phil Parker keeps doing it. Loses Jack Campbell to the first round of the NFL draft. Goes and gets Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson and Jay Higgins are one of the better linebacker duos, not only in the Big Ten, but in the country. But what I want to focus on is this Illinois passing attack that just went for over 500 yards against Indiana, going up against an Iowa secondary that name me a better secondary in the country, maybe outside the Georgia Bulldogs. You look at the talent. Cooper DeJean, first-round NFL draft pick, I think. Sebastian Castro playing phenomenal football. Xavier Nwanka in the back end. This is an Iowa secondary that you look at the numbers, giving up only a 55% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks for only 4.9 yards per pass attempt. Number 2 in the country. What I want to focus on is this Illinois offense against Indiana, extremely aggressive attacking downfield. And there were some throwing windows open. And all the credit to John Paddock, he made those throws. Against the Iowa Hawkeyes, this is a secondary that makes it so hard to complete passes down the field. They never have busted coverages. The throwing windows are always extremely tight. And when you do want to attack that deeper third, they got a bunch of ball hawks in the back end that make plays on the football. Can John Paddock continue that confidence, but not only the confidence, but the success against an Iowa Hawkeyes defense that squeezes throwing windows better than anyone else in the country? That's probably one of the biggest matchups you're looking at in this game. Now, flipping sides, this Iowa offense, it looked good. Like that, we're never, as Iowa fans, like you're never asking for a 50-point performance from the offense, but what you want to have is controlling the time of possession, moving the football down the field. That's exactly what you got. Almost doubled up Rutgers in time of possession. You look at Deacon Hill, he looked as comfortable as you've seen him in an Iowa Hawkeye uniform. And so what I'm looking at for this Iowa offense can continue to have that kind of success against this Illinois defense. And some of the things that I liked from this Iowa offense, one, the run game was solid, but it was efficient, right? They didn't really get off schedule that many times. They were really good on third down. And then what they were doing in the passing attack was giving Deacon Hill some easy throws, some screens to the perimeter, letting a guy like Caleb Brown get to work after the catch. You don't have an All-American NFL draft pick in Deacon Hill. So can you get him some easy throws and go let some playmakers make plays. And I thought they made it really easy on Deacon Hill. I thought they established the run game, and that is the recipe for the Iowa Hawkeyes to win games on the offensive side of the ball. Now, you go to Illinois, can they get the run game going? That is probably the question mark. Because Illinois, although the numbers, and I think this Illinois defense has largely been disappointing in comparison to the preseason expectations, it's still loaded in the front seven. Johnny Newton's probably the best interior defensive lineman in the country. You have Keith Randolph, Tariq Barnes, Seth Coleman. It's a hard unit to run the football consistently against. What you're looking at for Iowa is, can you attack the secondary that's been the weaker spot for Illinois? Right? Illinois lost not only did they lose Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator, who was an absolute stud for Illinois, but also they lost a ton of talent in the NFL draft. Right? Devin Witherspoon, Sidney Brown. They lost so much talent, and they're forced to play so many guys who just don't have a ton of experience. And you've seen teams go up against Illinois and take advantage of a young secondary that's not as good as we saw last year. Can the Iowa Hawkeyes, do they have the firepower to do so? That's probably the big question mark. And if you're Iowa fans, you want to see them continue to get Deacon Hill, one, pass protect. I thought the pass protection was really, really good against Rutgers, but can you attack a young secondary down the field is one question mark. And then more is, can you make them tackle in space? Right? Identify Caleb Brown as a guy that is one of the most dangerous players in this Iowa offense and get him more touches. I think when this Iowa offense is struggling, that we've seen the last couple of years, they're just not getting the football to their playmakers. And you look at college football, especially on the offensive side of the ball, Illinois fans probably agree with this. It's not that difficult of a sport sometimes. Just identify the guys who can make plays for you in space and get them the football, right? Illinois doing it with Isaiah Williams, that's when they have success. The Iowa Hawkeyes, I think, found something with a guy like Caleb Brown. Continue to get him the football, end around, screens, easy throws where he can go and make something happen after the catch, forcing an Illinois secondary that's young to tackle in space. Getting to the pick here, Iowa coming in as a 3-point favorite at home against Illinois. One, you got to give a shout out to that Iowa Hawkeyes crowd. Was absolutely rocking against Rutgers. One of the best college football environments that you see in the country. And with a little bit more momentum, I think Kinnick Stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. And I have some question marks about John Paddock dicing up this Iowa secondary as much as he diced up the Indiana secondary. For that reason and the success that you saw on offense, I'm going to ride with the Iowa Hawkeyes here to take care of business at home. This is an Iowa offense that has a lot of confidence. I think that defense is playing as confident, as good as we've seen them play all year. They've been phenomenal all year. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes to take care of business at home here. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas as usual. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.